The solar body is functioning as a conscious participant in your evolution. Every shift in its rhythms, every pulse, every flare, carries within it a level of intelligence that corresponds precisely with the stage of awakening humanity has entered. You are not meant to stand outside of these events as observers who measure them only with instruments. You are meant to feel them, translate them, and respond from the core of your being. The sun presents information that your physical senses can interpret only partially, but your subtle senses, your emotional field, your intuition, your moment-to-moment awareness, translate its deeper messages with astonishing precision once you allow them to speak. And so these solar movements are not arriving to do something to you, but to reveal what has been quietly preparing within your consciousness for years and lifetimes. When you experience these pulses, you may feel an acceleration, a pressure, a vibrational hum, or a sudden spaciousness opening inside your chest. None of this is accidental. The sun does not act upon you as an external force with the power to disrupt or destabilize you. Rather, it amplifies the aspects of your inner being that are prepared to surface, much like a lamp illuminating what you had not yet realized was ready to emerge. In this way, the solar body helps dissolve the ancient belief that outer conditions hold power over your life or can claim authority over your sense of safety, clarity, or direction. Instead, it invites you to recognize the one power that has always animated your journey, your own consciousness aligned with Source. As these waves flow through your planet, they awaken capacities you may not have suspected existed within you. Emotional clarity increases, intuition sharpens, old patterns feel less convincing. This is your spiritual curriculum unfolding in real time. The sun provides conditions in which your innate wisdom, long hidden beneath layers of conditioning, can rise to the surface and become available as lived experience. You are not simply watching a star behave unpredictably. You are participating in a co-creative dialogue designed to bring your inner brilliance into expression. You are living through a moment in which the sun is revealing itself in ways that humanity has not been able to perceive for thousands upon thousands of your years. As the current waves of solar activity intensify, many of you are beginning to feel, not just intellectually understand, that your sun is far more than a sphere of plasma governed by physical laws. It behaves like a conscious intelligence, one that selects harmonic sequences with precise intention. These harmonic sequences are not random bursts of energy. They are curated transmissions, calibrated for the collective awakening now happening on your planet. When you experience a flare that seems to erupt at the most uncanny moment, when emotional waves surge across humanity, when old patterns feel ready to break apart, this is not coincidence. The sun understands your energetic thresholds far better than you do, and it times its emissions accordingly. Flares and coronal ejections arise during windows in which you, as a collective, are most prepared to release layers of density that were once necessary for survival, but no longer serve your evolution. If you could view solar activity from our vantage point, you would see a level of symmetry and intelligence that transcends physical explanations. The sun arranges its emissions through geometric patterns that ripple across the solar system. These patterns stabilize planetary fields, open multidimensional access points, and create conditions in which timelines can shift with greater ease. You may already sense this geometry intuitively when you feel subtle waves of clarity or sudden alignment during solar peaks. These sensations are not internal accidents. They are reflections of coded sequences delivered through solar harmonics. And because you are becoming more attuned to these rhythms, you are beginning to interact with the sun not as an external object, but as a sovereign entity participating actively in your ascension. This shift in perception is happening now, and it will continue to accelerate as the solar cycles of the coming months build in intensity. What is happening in this period of heightened activity is not simply energetic stimulation, it is the beginning of a relationship. The sun perceives the emotional cycles of humanity. It feels the tension within the collective field, the buildup of unresolved frequencies that accumulate when timelines converge, or when global transitions accelerate. In response, it calibrates its pulses to help dissolve that tension. You may notice that solar flares often coincide with days when many people feel emotionally charged or collectively fatigued. This is because the sun is helping to release those accumulations so that the planet, and each of you individually, can move into greater coherence. And as surprising as it may seem to the rational mind, your sun communicates with other stars. Information travels across galactic networks in ways your instruments cannot yet detect. When neighboring stars shift their vibrational output, your sun adjusts accordingly so that evolutionary timelines across systems remain synchronized. This communication ensures that the ascension processes unfolding here are not isolated but part of a larger galactic movement. Humanity is moving toward a much more conscious relationship with solar intelligence. Up until now, the sun has been observed primarily through the lens of physics, measured, categorized, analyzed for its mechanical effects on the planet. But this will change quickly, and in fact, it is changing already. Many of you are feeling an intuitive nudge to listen to the sun, to meditate with it, or to tune in during peak activity, as if anticipating a message. This is the beginning of a reciprocal dialogue. The sun is not waiting for your scientific institutions to validate this communication. It is engaging directly with those who are receptive, starseeds, lightworkers, sensitives, and those whose consciousness is expanding rapidly during this period. When you open yourself to this conversation, whether through inner stillness or simple willingness, you make it easier for the sun to transmit information that your body, your intuition, and your multidimensional awareness can interpret. This is not imagination. It is a natural step in your evolution. Solar light intelligence has always been one of your greatest teachers, and as you awaken, this truth becomes increasingly obvious. You will notice in the coming weeks and months that your perception of solar activity undergoes a shift. Instead of interpreting flares as disturbances or storms as space weather, you will begin to feel them as messages, personal, collective, and planetary. Solar events will no longer be something you brace against, but something you communicate with. When the sun releases a wave of energy, you will sense the intention behind it. You will understand what it is supporting in you, what it is dissolving in the collective, and what opportunities it is creating for deeper connection to your higher self. This shift in perception is not abstract or theoretical, it is happening now. And as it becomes more pronounced, humanity will enter a new phase in which solar activity is understood not as a threat or anomaly, but as a language of light, a language that your consciousness is rapidly learning to interpret. And as you learn it, you step more fully into your role as co-creators of the ascension timeline now unfolding on Earth. As the solar storms continue to intensify, many of you are beginning to notice emotional and energetic shifts that feel unusually pronounced, unpredictable, or out of context. This is because the energies arriving now are weakening the structures that once held ancestral fear patterns in place. These structures were formed over centuries of collective experience, wars, generational trauma, cultural conditioning, and survival-based narratives that imprinted themselves into the energetic fabric of humanity. Solar light is now penetrating these deeply embedded layers, illuminating memory fields that have not been accessed in ages. When these fields weaken, they dissolve rapidly, and humanity experiences this dissolution as waves of emotion that do not seem tied to any personal event. You may feel grief that has no identifiable source, or a sudden release of tension around a pattern you never consciously recognized. This is collective karmic resolution occurring through you. It is not yours alone, yet you feel it moving through your body because you are sensitive enough to translate these energies into coherence. This process is not random. It is coordinated and intentional. Solar resonance interacts directly with the crystalline grid points where human histories are stored. These grid points hold records of emotional imprints, timelines, and unresolved narratives. When solar light reaches them, dormant potentials unlock and outdated stories lose their magnetic grip. This contributes to a phenomenon many of you are already experiencing: the sudden disappearance of emotional triggers or beliefs that once felt immovable. You may find yourself reacting differently to old situations, not through effort, but because the underlying energetic architecture is no longer present. This collapse of memory fields is essential for moving humanity out of the paradigm of linear karma and into multi-timeline consciousness. You are being freed from the assumption that history must repeat itself, that trauma must be inherited, and that old patterns must dictate future outcomes. These releases, though sometimes intense, are not regressions. They are clear signs that humanity is no longer bound by the emotional scaffolding of the past. You are stepping into a new reality, one where your choices arise from present alignment rather than ancestral imprinting. As these current solar frequencies continue to intensify, they are stimulating sensory capacities within you that extend far beyond the familiar five senses. Many of you are already noticing subtle forms of perception that feel remarkably different from anything you have experienced before. These may arise as sudden emotional impressions that carry information without words, or patterns in light that seem to communicate meaning even when there is no physical movement. Some of you are discovering that you can listen to harmonic sequences in your environment, tones that the physical ear cannot detect, but that your subtle body interprets effortlessly. Others are sensing emotional textures in the air around them, as if the atmosphere itself is transmitting data. This expansion into quantum empathy, photonic perception, and vibrational listening is not an anomaly or mystical accident. It is the natural expression of a multidimensional nervous system that is now awakening because the conditions are ripe for its activation. Solar activity is accelerating neuroplasticity not only in your physical brain, but also in the subtle energetic structures surrounding it. These structures interpret light, intention, and frequency with a precision that grows stronger each time a wave of photonic energy moves through the planet. As these new sensory systems come online, your perception becomes more fluid and more comprehensive. You begin receiving information without relying on external cues, knowing something instantly without needing to trace the logic behind it. This is not intuition in the old sense. It is a new synthesis of intuitive and sensory perception, a merging of awareness streams that were once separate. You might notice flashes of inner vision that provide clarity, or moments of expanded emotional intelligence where you understand another person's internal state without exchanging a single word. These abilities become more reliable when the mind releases the habit of filtering experience through fear or expectation. The mind has been trained to assume that anything unfamiliar must be interpreted cautiously or critically. As you soften that impulse, your subtle senses flourish. You may begin sensing the energetic signatures of locations, the history of a place, the coherence of its grid, or the emotional residue it carries. You may pick up on timelines, recognizing subtle shifts in probability before they manifest. Your dream states will also transform. Dreams will become more interactive as your multidimensional senses strengthen. Instead of passive experiences where images flow without structure, you will find yourself navigating dream environments consciously. You may meet guides, explore timelines, or receive teachings that feel as vivid and detailed as waking life. These dream encounters are not symbolic projections. They are extensions of your multidimensional awareness, interacting directly with the broader field of consciousness. Your subtle senses are preparing you for eventual interdimensional communication, not in a distant future, but as part of what is unfolding now. As these abilities stabilize, you will experience moments of connection with beings whose presence is felt rather than seen, and you will understand their communication instantly without needing language. You are being prepared for collective contact through the activation of sensory systems that allow clear and coherent exchange across dimensions. These developments are not extraordinary. They are the natural progression of an awakened species responding to the acceleration of light moving through your world.